Today, we get to step into the past through the personal recollections of one man, Béla Török. We're going to explore the beautiful memoirs he left behind, starting right at the very beginning, with the first memories that shaped his entire world.
So let's go there. The place is Szeged. The year, 1917. An old world is, well, it's breathing its last. The Great War is tearing Europe apart, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire is starting to crumble. And right in the middle of all this change, a little boy is just starting to collect the memories that will define the rest of his life.
Just imagine that for a second. You're a child, looking out your window, feeling safe, and you see this silent, absolutely colossal machine just drifting across the sky. In Béla's own words, you can almost feel that mix of pure childhood wonder and the faint humming shadow of a world at war. It's just one single image, but it was powerful enough to stay with him forever.
But why that one? Why a Zeppelin or, the taste of fruit from a family farm? For Béla, writing down these memories wasn't just about nostalgia. No, it was more like a mission. It was a promise he was making to the future, which really brings us to the whole reason he decided to write his life story down in the first place. You see, later in his life, Béla Török felt this deep, profound need to preserve his story. It was more than just remembering, it was a conscious act. It was kind of like a message in a bottle, for all the people who would come after him, who might be trying to make sense of the lives and the world they inherited. And that was it. That was his why. His writing was all about legacy. He looked at his own generation, standing at this huge historical crossroads, and he felt a real duty to explain the choices they made and why they made them. He wanted his descendants, and really all of us, to understand the world that created them. And wow, what a choice that was. After the absolute devastation of World War II and the Iron Curtain falling across Europe, Hungarians like Béla had to make an impossible decision. Do you stay in the homeland you love but under Soviet rule, or do you run, flee, into a total unknown, chasing this idea of freedom in the West? And his own recollections make it so clear. Neither path was the easy way out, not at all. The ones who stayed had to live with the daily weight of occupation, their spirits slowly being crushed. But the ones who left, the ones like him, they faced incredible economic hardship, the struggle to fit into a new culture, and maybe worst of all, being totally misunderstood by the very people they'd left behind. He called them a generation of living victims. So with that in mind, let's go back. Let's return to his earliest years and see exactly where this incredible journey began. Because before all the big, sweeping historical events, there are the small, sensory moments that build a person. These are the scattered, colorful images from his childhood. So he was born in 1914, the very same year the world just exploded into the First World War. His sister Kata was born in 1917. That was the year of the Zeppelin. And then by 1922, his home life was turned upside down when his parents divorced. His childhood was like this quiet little island, with these huge waves of change, both personal and public, crashing all around it. And you can just see the world through his young eyes. It's this beautiful mosaic of memory fragments. The strange and colorful sight of French-Moroccan troops just walking down the promenade, the pure, simple joy of summer at the family farm, which he remembered for its sweet fruit, hot sand, and neighborhood pals. The pride he felt watching his father patrol the streets as an officer. And, of course, the simple happiness of splashing around in the Tisza River. But beyond what was happening out in the streets, the really formative stuff, the things that would echo through his whole life, that was all happening right inside his own family. Béla's writings paint this really stark picture of his two grandmothers. On one side, his paternal grandmother, who he called Nagyaniko, she was just beloved. He remembers watching her leave for a hospital, and as a little boy, he actually imagined the pattern on the window curtain was the train taking her away forever. It was a profound loss. And then, on the other side, his maternal grandmother, Grossmama, was formal, distant. She'd even objected to his parents' marriage because of class differences. He was only 8, just 8 years old when his parents got divorced. He describes that moment as the single most significant experience of his entire childhood, something that would quietly steer the course for the rest of his life. And yet, the thing he remembers most wasn't anger or fighting. It was the quiet dignity of it all. He said they never heard a single bad word spoken between their parents. It was just this sad, respectful separation that clearly left a huge impression on him, an early lesson in how to handle sorrow with grace. Okay, so now we get to something that was basically woven into his DNA from the day he was born, the history that was carried in his family name. And this wasn't just a name. To him, it felt a lot like a destiny.
In his manuscript, he calls it a trick of fate. A coincidence so unbelievable, it was like his life's path was already charted for him, long before he could even understand what it all meant.
The whole story, and really so much of his life's journey, it all hinges on this one name from deep in his family's past. Ignat Turok. An ancestor, yes, but also a national hero.
This is just incredible. So Ignat Török, who was his great-grandfather's cousin, was one of the famous 13 martyrs of Arad. These were the generals executed for leading Hungary's 1848 War of Independence. But here's that trick of fate he mentioned. Another one of those same 13 martyrs, a man named Erno Kiss, was related to his mother's family. The blood of heroes who died for Hungarian freedom. It ran on both sides of his family.
So from the time he was a little kid, Béla was raised with this incredibly powerful family history. To be a Turok meant you were a patriot. It was just who you were. As he puts it, in his original manuscript, this legacy of sacrifice set his whole life on an almost predetermined path, a path of duty to his country.
So with the memory of giant airships, the deep love for a grandmother, and the heavy weight of national heroes on his young shoulders, the journey began. A journey that would take this boy from a small city in Hungary all the way to the other side of the planet. And what happened on that long and bumpy road? Well, that is a story for next time.